everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Sophie and in today's video I'm going to be reading the highest and lowest rated books on my TBR. Before we get into the video, please remember to like if you've enjoyed it and to subscribe to my channel for more bookish content. I post videos every Sunday. So I'm going to be reading two books in this reading vlog, the first of which is going to be the highest rated on my Goodreads TBR, which is The Will of the Many by James Islington, or Islington? I think it's Islington. All I know about this one is it's a Roman inspired fantasy. I've heard some really good reviews from people that have read it, so I'm really excited to read this one. And this one has an average rating of 4.61 on Goodreads, which is actually really high. So yeah, really excited to dive into this one. The lowest rated one on my physical TBR is Too Hot to Handle by Tessa Bailey. This one has an average rating of 3.28, which 3 isn't a bad rating, but yeah, 3.28 is quite a low rating. I don't know too much about this one. I do like Tessa Bailey as an author. I find her a really easy romance author to read. So when I've started reading this one, I'll let you know what my thoughts are. But yeah, we're going to start with The Will of the Many by James Islington. So I'm just coming in to give you guys a reading update for this vlog. I have started reading The Will of the Many by James Islington. I am currently 273 pages into this one. It's in my book sleeve so you can't see it. The Will of the Many is set in a fantasy world revolving around a kind of pyramid scheme. So there's something called will, and everybody is expected to cede some of their will to someone above them in the pyramid. So at the top of the pyramid we have people like senators and the higher ups in society. The people lower in the pyramid cede up. So you'll have people in this pyramid who have the will of a couple of people, and then you have people in the pyramid who have the will of hundreds and thousands of people. So our main character Viz, he has never ceded any of his will. When you get to the age of 18 you must cede your will, but most people start doing it at the age of 12. There seems to be kind of an initiation kind of ceremony thing where you are expected to cede your will for the first time. Viz is actually the prince of a kingdom that was conquered by the hierarchy, which is what the government of this pyramid scheme basically country are kind of called. Nobody knows that he is the prince of this family. He basically went into hiding and he's adopted a new identity, and he refuses to cede any of his will. At the start of this book he's only 17, he's living in an orphanage and he's working at a prison, and one day someone very important in this government visits the prison and asks to see a prisoner. Now the prisoners in this prison are kept on something called sappers, where they're basically put to sleep and their will is just leached from them all day every day. In order for him to speak to this prisoner they have to wake him up. He goes down to speak to this prisoner. Viz accompanies him, and him and the prisoner start speaking in a dead language. So this person who's high up in the government is called Usizer, I think. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his name. Usizer, that's what we're going to call him. If it's wrong, correct me. Usizer notices that Viz recognises this language, and he shouldn't recognise it because it's a dead language, and then the next day Usizer comes to the orphanage that Viz is at and adopts him into his family. When Viz goes home with Usizer, obviously he knows who Usizer is. They basically talk to each other, and Usizer basically wants him to use his skills that he quite clearly has and go into something called the academy, which is where people who are high up in the government, really important families, send their children in order to get them good jobs in the future. Usizer's brother supposedly committed suicide whilst at the academy. Usizer doesn't believe this is correct. He doesn't believe that his brother committed suicide. He thinks he was murdered by the current principal of the academy, who was at the school with Usizer's brother. Okay, so Viz's job is to infiltrate the academy and find out basically what happened to Usizer's brother. Whilst this is going on, Viz is approached by a rebel group, which I can't remember the name of, and they basically want him to be their double agent. Before Viz enters the academy, this rebellious group attacks a festival, and Viz is kind of I don't want to be on your side. He doesn't really know what he wants. He's just kind of in this situation trying to make the best of it. So where I've just gotten up to, Viz is in the academy. He's progressed up a class because on his first day he wowed his professors. He shouldn't have been in the bottom class. It's quite a complicated fantasy world. It's very Roman inspired. I'm getting my head around it, but I understand it when I'm reading it, but trying to explain it is quite difficult because there's just so much going on. I am really enjoying this one so far. I'm really interested to see where our story is going to develop. Is Viz going to find out what happened to Usizer's brother? What actually happened there? Did he actually commit suicide? I'm really interested to see, is it all some kind of grand cover-up, or is what was said happened what actually happened, if that makes sense. So yeah, really interested in this one. Our characters are all really interesting. So we've obviously got Viz, who's our main character, Usiza, we've got the principal, and we've got a few classmates who are in the same class as him, but also some from the higher up classes who are kind of showing an interest in Viz because of everything that he's done so far. He's kind of made quite a big name for himself before coming to the academy. I can see where the Red Rising comparisons come from, only in the setup of this book, in the fact that he is trying to infiltrate them and supposedly take them down. We don't know what Viz is wanting to do. In Red Rising, obviously Darrow infiltrates the Golds in order to take them down from the inside. Viz, I don't really know what he wants to achieve here. He's just in this academy. I don't know what he wants to do. He kind of is just kind of trying to find his footing. I'm really interested to see more of the political aspects of this world. I think as we, maybe not whilst we're in the academy, but maybe when we learn about some of the other characters and how their families are so important in the society, how they play a role, maybe we'll open up this world a bit and see more of the political side of it. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this one so far. I can see why everyone loves this one. It's really fascinating. So around nearly 300 pages into this, it's not been a slog or anything. It's been really interesting to read. I'm really enjoying it. But yeah, I don't really have too much to say so far. I don't know what's going to happen with this book. I don't know where the plot is going to go, but I'm excited to go on the journey and see what happens. But yeah, really enjoying this one so far, and I'll check back in with you guys when I've read a bit more and I've got a bit more to say. So I'm just checking back in to say I have now finished reading The Will of the Many by James Islington. So I really love this one. I gave this one 5 stars, so I can see why it's got such a high rating as its average rating on Goodreads. This one, even though it's 600 pages long, I didn't really feel like there was any slow parts or it was a bit of a slog. The plot was moving really nicely and progressing really well. We had a lot of things introduced. There's a lot of there's the main plot, and then there's quite a few subplot points, which I'm not going to go into because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but that is what kept the plot moving forward really well, because there was just quite a lot going on. I didn't find it difficult to keep track of anything because I feel like the author reminded you of sort of what was going on and why this was a key plot point really well. The characters were all really interesting. They had their own sort of motivations and things like that, and that was all done really well. I'm really excited to read the sequel to this one. I think it comes out later this year. But yeah, I can see why a lot of people compare it to Red Rising as well. When they're in the academy in this book, it does feel very much like the academy in Red Rising, in the fact that it's just so brutal. And because I guess they're both Roman inspired sort of fantasy or sci-fi worlds, this one's a fantasy, Red Rising and sci-fi, you can definitely see the comparisons, but I don't feel like this was a copy. This stood really well in its own right. I can just see maybe where it got a few inspirations from, but then I guess you could say any book that's got an academy or any book that's Roman inspired isn't necessarily copying it. So yeah, I can see the comparisons, but I thought this stood really well on its own. Definitely really unique. The magic system, like the whole thing with the will, that was really well explained, really well done. I really enjoyed this one, and I'd highly recommend reading this one if you haven't. But yeah, love this one. I think I'm a bit late to the game with this one, obviously, with such a high rating, but yeah, excited to read the sequel when it comes out this year. So that takes us on to the next book for this reading vlog, which is going to be Too Hot to Handle by Tessa Bailey. I don't know too much about this one. It's the start of another romance series by her. I think they're all, is it like the Clarkson brothers or something? So we follow like a family of guys, and as they all get girlfriends, whatever. But yeah, this one's only short. To be honest with you, I don't really ever expect too much going into a Tessa Bailey book. They're just sort of like a fun romance. So yeah, we'll see what I think of this one. Okay, so I've now read the lowest rated book on my TBR, which is Too Hot to Handle by Tessa Bailey. And yeah, I'm going to give this one a 2.5, maybe a 2. I'm not really 100% decided on that one. So this is the first in the Romance in the Clarkson series, which follows 4 siblings, Rita, Belmont, Aaron and Peggy, and they're very estranged. Their mother died prior to the start of this book, and she was a very famous chef. She had her own restaurant. She had, I think, her own cooking show and stuff. And Rita sort of followed into her footsteps, and the other siblings sort of did different things. Like Aaron's into politics. Peggy, we don't really know like too much of what she does, and like Belmont's just this mystery, sort of, he's got an air of mystery about him. And in this one, Rita finds her mother's like notebook, and in the notebook she says that she wants the 4 siblings to like reunite and go and like jump off this cliff into the cold water together, and he thinks that will reunite them. So the 4 siblings come back together and go off and do this. And again, prior to this, the family restaurant has just been burnt down, so Rita's kind of like, you know, she wants the siblings back together again, and they start this road trip because Rita refuses to fly, and the car breaks down in like a very small town, and that's where we meet our love interest Jasper. So this romance is between Rita and Jasper. Now Jasper comes along on his motorcycle, offers to help them, and they all get stranded in town until the repair shop can repair the car. Now I really just didn't like the two main characters. Like Rita was alright, but Jasper I really didn't like. I found his dialogue very cringy, and just like the way that he was, I was just kind of like I was reading him, like reading his dialogue, reading chapters from his POV, and I was just kind of like just like ugh, like cringing. I just really didn't like him. I don't know what it was about him. I just didn't like the way he spoke, the way he thought about himself. I just ugh. And like, you know, he's declaring his love for Rita after like 2 days. I'm just kind of like, it's lust, babe. Which is fine, but yeah, I was just kind of like yeah, there was some nice bits about this. Like Rita and Jasper really helped each other with some issues they were having. They complemented each other quite well. I just didn't really like Jasper, and I think perhaps I will enjoy the later books in this series. I do tend to find with Tessa Bailey books, I don't really tend to enjoy like the first one in the series, but I tend to enjoy the latter books. I don't know if that's because we spend a lot more time with the characters. I don't know, I just get used to them. But yeah, I just really didn't like Jasper in this one. And yeah, I can see why it's like the lowest rated. Like it was a really, really quick read. I literally read this in like 2 evenings. Like it didn't take me long at all. And it was like fun. It was a fun read. I enjoyed the sibling dynamic. I'm looking forward to their books that we're going to follow later on in the series. I did enjoy like a lot of the characters in here, just not Jasper. And yeah, it was interesting like to see a culinary perspective. I always find with Tessa Bailey books, she sort of hones in on like one quite unique craft. So like obviously we've got the Fix Her Up series, which is like a building company, and it was like siblings that run a building company together. And then we've got the Hook, Line and Sinker one, is like fishing boats, like fishing. And then the Vine Mess is like wine tasting, and like this one I guess is like, I don't know, like I'm assuming like small town culinary, or is she gonna go, I guess the siblings are also different, that we're gonna follow different things, I don't know, but I guess it's maybe gonna all revolve around this small town, I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited to carry on. But yeah, this was like a 2 or a 2.5. I can see why it's the lowest rated on my TBR. Like it wasn't bad, it just wasn't like the best. It's not the best Tessa Bailey book I've read, and it's certainly not the best romance I've ever read. But yeah, if you're a fan of Tessa Bailey, I'd definitely give this a go. It was super, super quick, super short, and also like I love the blue of the cover, but yeah, just not my type of romance, this one, which is okay. We're all into different things. But yeah, that's that one done at least. So that's going to be it for this reading vlog, where I read the highest and lowest rated books on my TBR. I hope you've enjoyed. If you've made it this far, please remember to like if you enjoy it and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.